Good morning. It's Brian here in the forest. Let's share it on Facebook too. I don't normally do that. There we go. That used to happen automatically. And we're back. Hey, it's Brian of London here in my forest in Tel Aviv. And a few things come to mind. First, I wanted to talk about this rocket that hit a house in Be'er Sheva. A real hardcore rocket. There were two rockets launched from Gaza a couple of days ago. One of them flew north and landed in the sea, about some kilometers offshore, but not very many. People heard it. And the other one, though, went inland and it went to the city of Be'er Sheva, where 30 seconds after the alarm rang, it fell through, well, it went through the roof of a house and exploded. It actually had a proper warhead that exploded in the house. In fact, you can see the videos and the pictures of the house that were posted. Obviously, they won't show up in your international lamestream media, Khashoggi, because it's not a big story when terrorists try to murder Jews and fail. So the rocket fell through the roof and then exploded inside the house. The only reason a woman and her 3 children were not murdered that night, was because she heard the alarms. She went to her kids' bedrooms, got them up, got them into their safe room, closed the door, and boom, explosion. And she couldn't even get out of the room until rescuers arrived, basically. You know, the debris and stuff. Insane, absolutely insane to live that way. We haven't had rockets falling on Tel Aviv since 2014 was, I think, the last time we had the alarms. And I got to tell you, it's 90 seconds we have here in Tel Aviv. Which is a relatively long time. 30 seconds is a hell of a lot less time to get your kids out of their beds in the middle of the night and rush them into a room and close the door. And the thing is that this has been done millions of times. I mean, I'm not exaggerating there. You know, there's so many people who live within rocket range, and these rocket alarms have been going on for so long, you know, ever since we pulled out of Gaza, basically, and handed it over to the terrorists. It will have been cumulatively millions of times people have had to wake their kids and move them into a bomb shelter, and you get reluctant to do it. You think, you know, what are the odds, huh? Well, for that woman, and they've interviewed her on TV, beautiful, amazing woman, how she managed to do this, and she was damn right. She moved her kids. She had that 30 seconds from the alarm. And it's a harsh, horrible way to wake up. You hear them all over Israel. We use them for, we use the alarms for as a Memorial Day. So when we have the Memorial Day for fallen soldiers, or the Holocaust Memorial Day, we use the alarm and it sounds at 11 o'clock in the morning and all the traffic stops. It's exactly the same alarm. But the system is actually highly sophisticated. So they can turn it on in different regions. So they see a rocket launch from Gaza. They look at the trajectories. One of the rockets was heading off toward Tel Aviv, but obviously they could see that it was misaimed and it was slightly left. So it was going to drop in the sea. So they didn't sound the alarms for Tel Aviv. So I slept through that. It was 3 in the morning or something. But the other rocket was heading for Be'er Sheva, which is by far and away the largest town in the southern Israel. It's must be the fourth of, I think, Haifa, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and probably Be'er Sheva is the next town. And the alarm sounded for Be'er Sheva. You have 30 seconds. This woman, I think originally Ethiopian, she's black-skinned, Jewish, obviously, wakes her 3 children up, 3 boys, I think. She has 30 seconds to wake up the kids, move them into her safe house. Most newer buildings in Israel have got their own safe room built into them, and she closes the door, and literally seconds or less than seconds after she shuts the door, a rocket goes through the roof, and then the warhead of the rocket explodes. This is not homemade, this is not amateur hour rocketry. This is real hardcore military weapons, fired indiscriminately without significant aiming. All they could do is aim at a city, and it's not a military target, Be'er Sheva, it's a city of civilians. Falls through a woman's house, she's a single mum, gets her 3 kids into the safe room, closes the door, and then boom, her house literally explodes. You can find the pictures, not in the mainstream media, of course, because it's just not a big story. Now, if we hit back, that'll be a story. And she saved her 3 kids. And for that reason, and this is where the problem kicks in. So what do the media say? If they run this story at all, they'll say in years, 18 Israelis have been killed by rockets and 3,000 Palestinians. So what they're presenting is an equivalence. So this woman and her kids, were they to be murdered, would be equivalent to when we shoot at a man holding a gun and kill him. So they equate murder of Jews, children, women in the middle of the night with a rocket, with us making targeted strikes on military targets. Now, we don't always hit. There's collateral, there's other people around, because the terrorists are always embedded with other people. But the big difference, and Sam Harris said this properly a long time ago, it's all about intent. Okay, when you fire in the middle of the night a rocket randomly at a civilian city, your intent is to murder Your intent is to murder Jews. When you see terrorists setting up to launch a rocket, and you see it with a drone, it doesn't matter how sophisticated our weapons is. It doesn't matter that our weapons are better. The point is, the intent of the IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, is always to kill a combatant. Doesn't mean we don't hit civilians from time to time, but we have certainly a far lower civilian kill rate than any army ever fighting a terrorist enemy that embeds itself amongst its civilian population with the precise and direct aim of getting its own civilians killed, because it's a double whammy. We know, you know, and they've used this against you, the Americans, but nobody's ever gone to the lengths we go to target. And no enemy has ever gone to the lengths that our enemy goes to get its own civilians killed, while at the same time trying to murder ours. That's the difference. So if you think that looking at the number of deaths is a valid way to present the story, which is how the media always present the story. They always, at the end of the media, 17 Israelis have died in rockets and 2,500 Palestinians, whatever it is. This is an equivalence of death. What you're looking for is like a socialist equality of death. That's what you're looking at. The way I say is, if we lined up 200 of our children and gave Hamas a free shot, murder our children, here you go, would that then be okay if we had killed 200 terrorists? Would you suddenly, you on the left, you haters of Israel, would you suddenly be satisfied if we allowed our children to be murdered so that the numbers, the score would be even in your weird, deranged, false equivalent sort of land? I don't know. That seems to be what the media want when they talk about a disproportionate response from the Israelis. Now, what's actually happened is we've had a cabinet meeting, and apparently some in the cabinet, like Lieberman, wanted to go and hit them hard, and our cabinet here in Israel, for some inexplicable reason, is saying, no, we're going to give them one more chance. The way I think about this is the way I think about my children, which is, if I give them too many last chances before I take away their screen time, they don't really respect me very much. So I'm worried here that we're giving them too many last chances, and they're not going to change. They're fighting a jihad, holy war. They cannot rest until they have made us all dhimmis. This is my favorite word, dhimmitude. Go look it up. This is Islam's desire to conquer and suppress people. Dhimmi is the treaty that they sign with the people they've conquered. What they want to do is turn Israel into dhimmis. Either kill us, throw us out, or have us conquered by Muslims and ruled by Muslims. It's quite a simple plan. That's it. That's what they want. They're not changing. We can't live with rockets falling on our civilians. It's time to hit back. Anyway, thanks very much. I'm Brian of London. I'm here in the forest in Tel Aviv, paradoxically, drinking culturally appropriated fine Italian coffee. I'm an indigenous Jewish Israeli, and thanks for tuning in all, and thanks Cerno for the shout out. See you all next week, or whenever I do one of these next.